guys, welcome back. Welcome to part 2 of the USS Arizona catapult. In case you missed the first video, we are working on the catapult that sits atop of turret 3. And we're about halfway done with it. If you haven't seen the first video, go check that out. This is the second part. On the last video, we ended it with these pieces here. We actually had the body of the catapult complete. Everything in this step has been completed on that one. Now we are going to pick up where we left off, which leads us to this here. We got some railing we're putting down. A footpath, I'm assuming, is what that is. And so we're going to be cutting that out of the sprue, adding the railing to that. And then we have a couple of kit provided pieces that we're going to be adding to that. And I'll show you those as we get a little further in. So let's go ahead and get this piece here completed, and let's get the railing on it. And let me see where we're at on here. So that is part 20, which is this piece here. Oops, this piece here. So we got to get this cut out. And then we have our railing here and here. So let's go ahead and get that cut out. And I'm going to go ahead and assemble this off camera simply because, again, we got some very delicate photo etch that we're working with, and I don't want to chance anything breaking. So let me go ahead and get this piece cut out. Let's get the railing on it, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. I ended up jumping ahead again, as I usually do. And let me catch you up here and show you what's going on. I did add a couple more platforms. And let me see if I can get this in the camera here. This platform here has been added. I got a second one here that we added. And then we got one on this side that we added. Let me see if I can get into view here. And then on top of that, we added all the railings all the way around. There you go, you can see that now. And I'll tell you the problem I'm running into now, guys. With all this railing that's ending up going around this thing, I am running out of places to grab this. And that's why I kind of just went ahead and started working on it. I want to get this thing done. I don't want to, the least amount of times I got to move it around for the camera and stuff, the least amount that I'm going to end up damaging this railing. And underneath side here, we have a pulley that we have added. And we have, let's set this down here, another platform and railing that's going to go into this area right here. And we'll go ahead and do that on camera, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and finish it up. Let me show you this back side here. Then I think we're going to go ahead and just finish it up, like I said, just for the sake of not damaging it. The only thing we really have left to do, guys, is this mount for the plane. Oh, hang on a second here. The only thing we have really left to do on this catapult is building this mount here. Oops, let me get on camera here. That the plane sets onto. And this is the piece we're going to be doing right now. These have already been assembled and are in place. We do have these brackets to put into place here on the underside and on the side of the thing. Now, it shows here on the bottom to add these little tiny bits along the bottom. I'm not going to do that simply because this thing is going to be firmly mounted onto the turret. These are going to be completely invisible. You would never see those. And so I'm not even going to bother with, trying to put those in there. And another reason why, if you look, we'd have to turn this upside down and put this weight on these railings that we already have installed. And I'm not willing to risk bending those for adding these that you're never going to see. So we're not going to even bother with that. We will put these brackets on, and this piece that the plane sits on, the catapult piece that shoots the plane, and our railings, and we're going to call this done. Here's the piece that we're going to be building also. This is this piece here that the plane sets onto. So there we have it. And I don't mean to keep jumping around like this. It's just that I run into problems, and I have to problem solve as I move along, and I don't anticipate a problem until I get to it. So yeah, that's part of doing this live, is that you take the situations as they come, you deal with them as they come. So let me set this out of the way. I do have this next railing. If our camera will focus, what is going on with my camera here? Let me see if we can get a little zoomed in here on this. This is that railing piece that we're going to be putting on. This is just I'm doing this on camera so you can kind of see what the other platforms, they were the same process, which is just basic. It's just putting it in here and folding the railings over. But at least I feel like I'm sharing something here, because I wanted to do this as a build that's kind of on camera, just to kind of fun things up and make it a little bit different. Okay. And there we have it. I know you can't see it. That's how tiny this photo etch is, and that's why it's so delicate, is these railings are so tiny and flimsy, and that's why I'm saying I'm having trouble even picking this catapult up, because it's loaded with these railings now, and it just seems like every time I pick it up now, there's a chance of bending something. And I'm not complaining, because the detail on this is phenomenal, and if I can successfully get this thing completed without, denting up this railings, then this is going to be awesome when we get it done here. Let me see if I can get something to prop this up. There we go. Oops, not even on camera. Move this down here a little bit where you can see what's going on. There we go. Let me get some CA here. And I know you can't see this, but okay, got that piece of railing on, and lost my pointer again. But anyway, let me just give you a quick rundown of what we got here. Here's the deck that we just installed. I don't know about a deck, a platform, let's call it. If I can get my camera to focus. There we go. And this is our, I gotta be careful where I'm grabbing this, guys. These are our kit provided parts. here and here, these gray ones. Those are the only two kit provided parts that we use for this entire catapult. Isn't that crazy? Everything else is all done through photo etch. And here's our underside so far. But I mean, look at that detail. This is so much more superior than the Trumpeter supplied catapult. There's so much more detail. And really that's what we're striving for, and that's the reason we bought the Edwards photo etch. It is hard to work with, and it can be frustrating and a pain in the butt, but I think it's going to add so much more to the finished build. You know, it gives the viewer so much more to look at. And like I think I said in a previous video, at the end when this ship is complete, I want it to be something that you can sit and look at for 15-20 minutes and still not see everything because there's so much detail. You know what I mean? And that's why, you know, I spent the extra money on the photo etch and, you know, doing it this way. I think it's going to add so much more at the end. So that's where we're at so far, guys. Now let's go ahead and get these brackets put on in place. Let me remind you again what we're doing here. We got these. What's going on? Here we go. We got these brackets here to put in, and over here onto the sides. And then we have to build this place that the plane sits onto the catapult. This is the build of it right here. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll get that all put together. Then all we have left to do is shoot a primer on it. We're going to hit it with the navy blue, and we're going to set that bad boy on that turret where it's out of danger of any of this railing and stuff getting crushed. So let's go ahead and get these brackets and stuff together, and we'll be right back. Okay, what I ended up doing, I went ahead and shot a gray primer on what we have already accomplished, simply because I want to put these tiny brackets on, and I figured it would be a little bit easier to see those rather than putting the brass on brass. You'll see it much better when it's put onto this gray. So I went ahead and shot this with a gray primer. I have these little brackets already cut out and ready to go here. And yeah, this is what I use, guys, for my small photo etch. It's just a small dowel with a pointy end, and I dip it into hot wax. And that's a good way to pick up these tiny pieces and apply them to where we want them to be. I got a larger end here, same way, it's got the wax on it, and then I got a little bit smaller end that I use for the tiny stuff. So let's go into it. Let's get started putting these brackets on. I think I'll go ahead and run these through in a fast forward type video. That way it's not going to take so long, because if I film putting every one of these on in real time, it would probably take 20 minutes or more. So let's go ahead and get these on, and we'll be back shortly. Okay, I think we've reached completion on this catapult, or as far as we can go for now. Let's just run over really quick everything that we did here, and we'll start off with the top view here, and you can see our railings. See if we can slowly work this thing around so this camera just doesn't want to go out of focus on us. Railings all came out good, and somehow or another I kept from bending those things up, as delicate as those are. And let's spin this around here. I got to be careful again at where I'm grabbing this thing. There's the other side. The back. And let's look at these brackets that we had put on. You can see those here. Those came out nice. Let's check the other side. There we go. Really, those, as tiny as those things were, they really added a lot because there was nothing in the spot. It was just as smooth as this here. So this added some rivet detail. And then the brackets themselves, you can make that out. And we got our pulley assembly here. And that pretty much completes it. Now let me show you something. I ran into a little bit of a situation. I ended up using the kit provided cradle, as you can see right here, for the plane. And I was going to use the photo etch one, but let me show you what happened here. I went and started putting this thing together, and here it is here. And I just didn't do a very good job on it. The folds were tight, and I tried to get glue in areas, and I ended up getting it all smeared up with CA. So yeah, I just decided to go ahead and not use this. I'm going to go ahead and use the kit provided one. And what is going on with this camera? I'm about ready to throw it against the wall. The kit provided one, I mean, it isn't terrible. If I had a choice of anything to go wrong on this catapult, I would want it to be this piece here. Simply because there's going to be a plane sitting on top of this. You're not really going to ever see that. So it's no big loss. And I think on the second catapult that I got coming up, I'm going to use the kit provided also, just to keep everything uniform. This camera's driving me crazy. I got to somehow troubleshoot this and try to figure out why this is going on. When I first got the camera, it never did that. It would stay in focus nicely. Now all of a sudden it's just constantly going in and out of focus. I've cleaned the lens. I don't know, maybe I'll uninstall all the drivers and everything, reinstall it from the new, and see if that might solve the problem. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and stick with the kit provided on that. Like I said, it's no big loss. This piece here ended up having so many folds, and you can see each one of the folds. And like I said, I had trouble getting the folds to stick together. I kept wanting to fling apart, and overdone it with the CA trying to make that work. So it really just wasn't worth all the trouble. So like I said, if I had a choice of anything to go wrong, that's what it would be. So no big loss on that. And we have everything assembled on this catapult. It is shot in a gray primer, and I'm going to just leave it in the gray primer for now. only because I got the other catapult to do, and then I got the crane on the back of the ship to do. And I just assumed paint those all at one time. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video here with this catapult. We're going to start the aft catapult on the next video. And then once that's done, we will go into the crane. And then once that's done, I'll go ahead and film all three pieces painted and sitting in their respective homes on the ship. So let me back out of this. I'll be right back. All right, so there we have it, guys. That's the completion, or like I said in the video, the completed, as far as it's going to be completed at this point. We are not going to be adding any more parts to that catapult. There was a few pieces that I omitted off of that catapult, and that's the stuff underneath. There was a lot of tedious, tiny stuff, like I said, that would never be seen, and there was by trying to put those pieces on, I would be sacrificing the railings and stuff like that on the catapult, which are really important as far as, you know, the appearance of the final product. So we're not going to be messing with any of that. Let's get this light off here. I got too much light going here. Yeah, this was crazy. When a video or two back, I said we were getting ready to start the catapult. Funny thing is, I looked at the main instructions, not the Edwards photo etch instructions, and it looked pretty basic. Like I said, there was like seven parts to it, and I assumed if anything we were going to be using those kit provided parts and adding, you know, some railing and things like that to us. I didn't see it as any big deal. That whole catapult turned out to be photo etch, and a lot of it. There was only two, you know, kit provided pieces, and those were very tiny pieces that were added into that catapult. The rest of it was all folding and gluing and bending, and, you know, to make that catapult. And it's super cool. I like it, and I know, you know, once we get it onto that ship, it's going to be awesome. It's going to look really, really good. The detail on it is phenomenal. If anybody were to ask me, you know, what have I learned as far as, you know, the photo etching tips, I would have to say, and this is on an amateur level because I'm nowhere an expert on photo etch, but from the little bit of photo etch that I've been working with, I would have to say is to make sure when you're bending your photo etch that you make the complete bend that's going to fit into, you know, the place that you're wanting to put it in, especially if it's a thicker piece of photo etch. I've tried where I, you know, would try to work the photo etch around a piece and apply CA, and, you know, to hold it. But sometimes that photo etch is very strong, and the CA might hold it for a short bit, but eventually it's going to pop loose because of the pressure of the photo etch. You're going to want to make sure that you have it completely where it's setting there with no bend pressure, I guess you could say, where it's not wanting to fling out, where it's actually sitting where it needs to be sitting.
Oh, the glue won't last more than 3 days.
Or yeah, that will happen. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Appreciate you sticking with me on this build. We will have the aft lips don't fail me now. We're going to have the aft catapult coming up on the next video, and maybe we'll have that in a day or two. And then we're going to do the crane in the back, the crane for the planes. And then, like I said, we're going to go ahead and get all shot in the navy blue at one time. That's going to save me from having to clean that airbrush over and over and over. We'll just get it all done in one shot. Then we will put it onto the ship, and then we can do some photos and stuff from there. So everybody have a great weekend. I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.